Hello, I'm Paul Schmid, and I'm going to demonstrate a tune, Just the Way You Are Tonight, sung in this particular case by Frank Sinatra. However, I've done my best to take the vocals out of this tune because I want to concentrate on the arrangement, the big band arrangement. In particular, the bass player, Joe Comfort, who was the most prominent bass player in Frank Sinatra's Capitol era. Joe Comfort is one of my heroes. He originally hit it big with Nat King Cole, the Nat King Cole Trio, previous to Sinatra moving from New York to California. Nelson Riddle did a lot of the producing for Nat King Cole for Capitol Records, and when Sinatra moved over to Capitol from Columbia, Nelson Riddle brought Joe Comfort into the studio, and a vast majority of the Capitol recordings that you hear with Sinatra are Joe Comfort. Any idiot in the world knows who Frank Sinatra is, but ask them who the bass player is that's driving the whole band. I'm going to play this tune twice. I'm going to play it without comment now, and then I'm going to stop and tell you a little bit about my bass and what I'm thinking about when I'm playing, and then I'm going to play it again and see if you can pick up on what I'm doing. Now, it's important to know that I don't pretend to be anywhere near Joe Comfort. He's my inspiration. I've taken some of his elements, hopefully, and incorporated them into my own playing, which I think is a very good thing for a bass player to do. For a bass player today in 2015 to try to imitate something that a bass player did in the 1950s, off the top of his head is just strictly an academic exercise. So here we go. Let's stop talking. Now, several things. First of all, it's in two different keys. It starts in the key of E flat, and it winds up in the key of E. Now, what you want to think about, bass players, a lot of bass players, which I am, classically trained, and we think in terms of the beginning of the song and the drama that leads to the end. And you can't blow your wad, so to speak, at the very beginning. You want to save the real excitement until the end, you know, so it goes out in a blaze of glory. Classical musicians will do this, classical composers like Beethoven, Brahms. In particular, in this style of music, think in terms of the octave. You don't want to be playing the lower register necessarily right in the beginning. You want to keep that for the end to sort of like, you know, kick everything out the door with a flourish. So the other thing is I've driven a standard car with a stick shift for decades, and the feeling of driving down a road at 40 miles an hour in third gear and then shifting into fourth, keeping, let's say we're in cruise control, so the speed is constant. The feeling of the motor, the feeling of the car totally changes. Not the speed, not the tempo, but the RPMs. And in a lot of this type of music, we'd go from a 2-beat feel to a 4-beat, back to 2. So you'd have this constant opening and closing of the RPM, so to speak. Keep that in mind, and when you are swinging in 4, it's really not 4 that I'm thinking of, or I should say hearing, it's triplets, all the time, as opposed to say rock music is triplets are more part of blues and part of jazz, particularly the swing era. A little bit about the bass I'm playing. It's nothing special. It's a late 1960s Meisel made in East Germany. It's plywood bass. The strings I have on them might be a little unusual to a lot of people. They're the Spiracore solo strings, which were made originally to be tuned up a whole step to play solo music with orchestras like the Dragnetti concertos, the things like that. So I have them on this bass, but I've got the strings tuned to concert pitch so that they're a little more flabby, so to speak, which allows me then to keep the bridge up a little higher to where I can stand it, because I believe that, well, every bass it responds best to a certain number of pounds on the top, pressure. And in this case, and in this bass, I think that it feels, it sounds better with a little more tension on it. It's got more of an explosion sound on it, more of a fast start. When I'm able to keep the bridge up a little bit higher. So the things to keep in mind now, I'm going to play this again, is first of all, obviously, no Frank Sinatra. Listen to the beautiful arrangement, number one. Number two, going from the feeling of 2 to the swing back to 2, the constant release and adding of tension of the RPM, so to speak. Think of the octave. You want to end in a flourish with the low part. Okay, and with that in mind, I think we'll do it one more time. I'm in 2 now, huh? E flat. please. Great sax writing. Now just hang on to the E flat like a pedal. Now we're going back into 4. To E. Really masterpieces, little gems, these arrangements.